But first of all, welcome. This is the IT's home, so I hope you've had a chance to have a look around. But I just want to talk you through a little bit about what we do and help you understand why our two worlds collide in that B2B and B2C convergence. So we're 153 years old, and we've existed to engineer a better world. That's really our purpose, and we're a members organisation. We've got 156,000 members in 148 countries, but we're also an organisation that looks after analytics, intelligence, research. We look after academia, government, practitioners, industry and society. So you can see vast audiences. So we look after our members who are practitioners of engineers and technologists, and really we're like their home for life. So that's everything from students all the way through to retirees. But we also do a huge amount in supporting government, supporting policymakers with global challenges, such as many of you will be focusing on, digital futures, sustainability and climate change. And we are Royal Chartered, and this is our world. And you will notice there's not many women in that world. There still isn't many women in the world of engineering. In fact, it's still only about 15%. And when you're talking about ethnicity, it's still only about 9%. If you're talking about tech, it's probably about 21% gender balance. But these are our forefathers, and one of our biggest challenges, of course, is that we are a historic institution. We are an ivory tower. We have, leather arm pads and professors and stuff like that. So it's, how do we bring that into the modern day? And this is what we do. So, we do professional registration, we do accreditation of universities, we do awards and scholarships, we are a membership organisation, we run 2,000 events a year, and we build communities. We've got about 70 technical networks globally. But we're the biggest runner of the first Lego League competition for 9 to 13-year-olds. We do a huge amount for equality, diversity and inclusion. We do a lot around STEM education and around the pipeline of engineering because, we haven't got enough engineers to solve our societal challenges. And so it's really important that we're influencing society. So you can see already B2B and B2C, and in fact society, boiling the ocean type stuff. And how do we do that really well? So it comes back to our purpose, and everything that we do has to be through our purpose. So we, as I say, engineer a better world. That's our mission. But actually it's about our Royal Charter. And our Royal Charter is to promote the general advancement of science, engineering and technology, and to facilitate the exchange of information and ideas on these subjects. That's what we were about in 1871. That's what we're about today. Now, we also have just been through, if you were on in the panel discussion earlier, I talked about we've just gone through this year the biggest transformation we've done in 18 years. And the reason that we did that is because we were not living our purpose. So you can see how important purpose is, not just to brands, but actually to organisations. And we were starting to move into offshoots of lots of different directions and really having a challenge. So we spent a lot of the last 18 months thinking about what is it we need to do? How do we fully live by our brand purpose? And how do we make sure that that is delivered throughout our business, soup to nuts, from the go-to-market all the way through to delivery? And a lot of what we were talking about really comes back to our old mate Simon. And many of you will know in 2009 he produced a book saying start with why. And that spawned the whole thing around brand purpose, and it's gone on and on and on. But it's really crucial. The people don't buy what you do, they buy the why you do it. And that is the unifying factor when we're talking about brand purpose and that convergence between the two markets. And I'll go into a little bit about that in a moment. But many of you, if you've read how many of you have read the book or heard about the Golden Circle? Okay. So again, it's about starting with the why. So we talk about, organisations, about the what we do and how we do it, but not many organisations spend a real lot of time talking about their why and really understanding how that brand encapsulates the why and how they can really deliver you know, the reason to believe, the reason your organisation really exists. And so we spent a lot of time talking about the why, and everything that we do now is guided by the why, especially the brand, the campaigns we do, what we put into it. And of course that why is, you know, it says there, I disagree with Simon here. The why is not about making money. I mean, you know, we have to survive. And as the IET, we are not governmentally owned. We have no shareholders. We have our own net. So it's really important that, but we talk about delivering on our purpose in a business-like way, because that means we can deliver on our purpose and we can still make sure that we're washing our own face. And the why actually comes back to not just about the brand, but about the customers, or in our case, the customers and members, and putting them at the heart of your why. And I love this, you know, when you're looking at it from an FMCG point of view, product-centric versus customer-centric, really thinking about the things that you do differently for your customers. And when we started thinking about our why, we were really challenging ourselves. And if I tell you, we've moved from a business that was essentially 5 different siloed businesses into one ecosystem, as we were talking earlier. That was, and I think somebody on the panel, I can't remember who, said, you know, we were talking about they're my customers. I think it was you, actually. They're my customers, you know, not the IET's customers or our customers. They're my customers, they're in research. They're my customers, they're in education. Well, they're my customers, they're members. And never the twain shall meet. And then, in fact, you know, they don't buy the products because they're B2B over here and they're B2C over here. So imagine our delight, my delight actually, when we started looking at the data and realised that 50% of our customers buy from both B2C and B2B. And we started mapping that and really saying, okay, well, that bit in the middle, how important is that to us? And what is that bit in the middle that really going to bring us? You know, does it bring us money? Does it bring us engagement? Does it bring us, you know, understanding of the brand or brand equity? Does it bring us share of voice? And so we started really thinking about the world in which B2B and B2C collides. Now, I know it's a bit contentious, you know, because we all know that B2B and B2C have different sales cycles. There are different demands, you know, versus, you know, the amount of leads in pipeline versus engagement. There are lots of different things in the B2C and B2B world, but there are far more similarities than we think. And actually, there was in May, there was a great conference by Campaign Asia, and they were talking about exactly this subject. And I think the Oracle CMO came up with the phrase A to A, all to all. And, you know, many of you, how many of you heard human to human? Because that's been going around for ages, right? We love a little, you know, catchphrase there. But all to all, that's really interesting, because can we be all to all? Can we be everything? No, we can't. But what we can do is we can learn across the divide. And it's not B2C versus B2B anymore. It's and. And actually, we can start to learn about the similarities. Because any of you who have worked in B2C and B2B recognise that actually the B2B environment is getting more to B2C. It really is about human to human. And if you're a bit long in the tooth in marketing like I am, people will say it's not an emotional decision in B2B, it's a rational decision. No, it isn't. Because if you've ever been sitting in a business where you've made a decision and it goes wrong, I can tell you feel that emotion. And it's about championing the person in that business. It's about making them the hero. So there's a lot of emotion in it. You want to make the consumer the hero. You want to make that consumer that's the early adopter be proud to tell all their friends that they've got that new, you know, Apple thing, or they've got a new gadget. And it's exactly the same in B2B. So, you know, the human-to-human interaction is so crucial. It's about targeting real people. You know, it used to be LinkedIn's for business, Facebook's for connecting with your friends, Instagram's your little photography it's exactly the same. CEOs are on Facebook. In the same way that students are on LinkedIn. In the same way that when you're talking about people that are driving society or making decisions, they are on social, they are in the digital channels. So actually really thinking about the person that you're targeting and that human connection with that person. Customer experience is getting more and more prevalent in everything we do, okay? If people are, how many of you buy from Amazon? Every one of you, right? How many times have you been in a B2B environment and you've gone, oh my God, I wish this was more like Amazon, right? In your business. And that's what people are experiencing now. They're experiencing that I want my business to be more B2C. I want it to be interactive, personalised. I want them to come up with suggestions. I want them to really know me. And that's becoming more and more prevalent in a B2B environment now. Trust and credibility has always been there. But it's been really now much more important to have that trusted brand. I'll give you some stats in a moment about that business case, about why brand purpose and really unifying that in those audiences is crucial, because people are no longer just buying brands for brand's sake. They're buying because that brand means something or does well or is ethical or has purpose in general life. Data and digital, again, we can't survive without being very data driven. And I really will dispute that there's no difference for me in a B2C or a B2B world. It's just maybe the data and how you're reading it and how you put that into action is a bit different, but it has to be all encompassing. And content and influencers, again, we've seen the big explosion in Instagram influencers and so on. But the content, and I was speaking to our other panelists earlier from Mars, 20 years ago, content is king. Content is still king. Influencers are still king. But again, it's not just about the B2C. It's about how we can encompass that. Personalization is crucial. Again, it's knowing that persona so deeply that you know when to step into their world and when not to step into that world. It's about being there, always on, but not being so in there that you are encroaching on somebody, and that's a very fine balance. And then we heard this morning, we opened up with storytelling. Storytelling is crucial. It's crucial for a marketer, but it's crucial in either the B2B and B2C world. So the business case. And again, what attracts brands? So there are lots of things around Edelman Trust. This is McKinsey when they talk about what attracts you to buy from the brands. And it's about, this is where brand purpose really comes in. This is the unifying case across either of those, B2B or B2C. It's a brand, I call it eat your own dog food. It does what it says it's going to do. How many times have we seen, we actually, I do anyway, I get disillusioned if a brand doesn't do what it says it does, or it's splashed across the newspaper where it says it's going to do things. But the great brands like Patagonia, for example, will always come out in brand purpose case studies because it does what it says it's going to do. When a company is transparent, not just about its employees, but what it delivers is really crucial. And then again, getting into ethical values, making sure that a brand is authentic, making sure a brand delivers on its purpose. It's passionate about the products and services it sells. And they are unifying. In fact, I can't see that there's one thing across any of these that you could call it's a B2C or it's just a B2B. They're unifying in that. But it really comes down to how you deliver on that brand purpose. I think the marketing infrastructure to do this is really crucial, because actually I had teams that were focused, because the sales teams were split into B2B and B2C, and actually we've brought the teams together. And some of the things that we've had to discuss with the sales teams around both, selling to every house in the room or being really conscious about who that persona is about really being obsessive about that customer or member. Really, really understanding what it is they want. What's the pain that we're solving for them? What is it that, what's their hopes? What's their dreams? And again, it's not down to a rational decision, because if you've got somebody that's in a B2B environment, they will hope to deliver on something good for the organisation. So, it's no different from a B2C environment where I hope this product's going to give me what I want. I hope it's going to deliver on my hopes and dreams. But you've got to be really obsessive about that, because then you start to see the similarities between the personas. And I urge you to do this if you're in a B2B and B2C environment, or you're going in, really start mapping your B2B personas to your B2C and looking at the commonalities, because that's where the kind of magic happens. You start to see the data. Back to that point where I was saying that 50% of our customers buy across both, and you just go, how can that be? And then you start to realise why. Because their pain, whether they're a consumer or whether they're doing it for business, is the same. We started talking about integrated marketing campaigns and the clear objectives of, I'll use the term all to all, but how they will bridge the divide. I'm going to show you some kind of case studies in a minute about that, because where we were recognising is that we were developing campaigns that were starting to get interest when they were societal campaigns or consumer campaigns. They were getting interest from business. We were doing business campaigns, and we were kind of having conversations about that in society. And what's that? Okay, how does that play out to what we need to do for our, societal campaigns? And there, we managed to start to bridge the divide. So utilising channels, I spoke earlier about social being a classic one, but channels where both audiences sit. So that might be in a PR environment, that might be creating events where you've got those kind of audiences that are coming. But what you start to see is that brand halo effect, where people start to understand, oh, okay, well, that might be a very B2B topic, but actually that has a emotional connection to me in what is happening in society. And then actually thinking about the optimum output. Is it return on investment? Is it return on objective? Or is it both? Some campaigns are both, because actually you're delivering on different things for the business through those audiences. So a couple of campaigns here that really did bridge the divide. We do a lot of ED&I work, and we developed a brand campaign for inclusive thinking. And this was really encouraged by engineers and technologists who are saying, actually, we need inclusive design. We need to be thinking about diversity. We need to be thinking about diversity of thought and how we're going, to solve the societal challenges of the future. So we started developing this inclusive thinking campaign. And all of a sudden it started gaining legs outside of the audience, where the audience were engineering and technology practitioners. And how are we as a membership organisation championing equality, diversity, inclusion? Well, actually, then we started getting into students, and students going, actually, I want a world in which where I'm going into the workforce, I want a world in which it's going to be inclusive. And then it started having the halo effect, and it started going into other areas of LGBTQ+. It started going into discussions around inclusive design, and started having a conversation with society about how we're going to solve those challenges. Our Green Skills Survey we presented at COP28 with the Bezos Foundation and Student Energy Summit, and that was about the employer skills for the future and how we're going to actually solve net zero, because we don't have enough engineers to solve net zero. So how are we going to do that? And actually that comes right back down to parents talking about their kids, about being engineers. It comes right back to, actually, even engineers don't talk to their own children about engineers and what they do. And actually kids want, and Gen X or Gen A or whatever we've got coming up, they want to solve the challenges of the future. So actually it's not about being an engineer, it's about how I make the oceans cleaner. tomorrow. It's about how I make sure that my kids and my grandkids are going to be better. That gives kids passion. So that's a B2B piece of content that is now gathering information about, okay, we can really learn from that to influence the societal audience. I love working at the IET because we get to do so much with B2B and B2C, and this is our Engineer a Better World campaign. So Tim Peake, this chap here, designed part of the comic. We produced this comic here, the STEM Squad, with Tim Peake and we got Marvel artists to draw that comic. We've just developed Moon United that allowed us to have a conversation with, I think Liverpool Football Club was part of it. We got futurologists, and that was about how you can develop the rule book for playing football on the moon, engaging kids in that. But we got B2B sponsors on that really wanted to understand what kids are thinking and how they can engage with that. And they could see the effect that, oh, okay, if they're talking to that audience, we can get involved with that audience. And you can start to see those two worlds collide. And then I think I'm pretty much running out of time. And as it's nearly drinks, I'll finish in a minute with a bit of a fun one. But one of the things we also do is the Futures Fund. And this is, again, the Futures Fund is something we fundraise about £1 million every year and match fund it. So 2 million to put into the next generation and to put into scholarships for those that can't afford to go to university, or to support them, to get donations to, for example, our donors will say we want this money just to go to education and so on. And that, again, is where that was very much appealing to a B2C audience. If you've got money, you want to leave to us so that we can do great things for it. But now we raise about 800 grand every year through businesses that want to do that through their CRS funding and so on. And they have that commercial, that social responsibility that they want to do something with. So something that can start as a very kind of B2C, we want to help people and help from an education can move. And then I'm just going to show you this at the end, because this is possibly one of the favourite things. And I think, what we should do is have a bit of fun. We did IET Difference Makers as part of our 150th anniversary. And we did this, and this is exactly where the two worlds collide into thinking about brand purpose, and this was particularly around sustainability, but thinking about us trying to get outside the bubble. So if you think about, if any of you have kids, or kids that are absolutely obsessed about Lego, and they're thinking about, they're going to go into their next, their job, they're saying, I want to be an engineer, or I really love maths, I really love science. There are so many kids that don't have that. They don't think like that. But they love art, they love music, they love fashion, they love, everything that is not what I would call STEM, maybe STEAM. But we started looking at this, about how we could partner to get outside the bubble and to get into different worlds. And this is why we did this partnership with Mixmag. We also partnered with Fortnite to do something around, being a gamer, basically. But this is one of the things where the two worlds collide. And actually, if you go on here on YouTube, you can see the comments underneath of, that kind of societal swear. That's really cool. But we've also got businesses going, what you did there, that was really cool. I want to invest in you. And that's kind of, I'm just going to leave it here, because I really, apart from the fact it's really fun and it is drinks time, this actually was a great campaign that really pushed the divide and created that halo effect around that brand purpose and brought those B2B and B2C audiences together. Let's hope it works. And I'm going to leave it there because it's an hour long. We can all get up and have a dance in a minute.
Yeah.
But you can see there where you can create a campaign that goes across 2 divides. It really speaks to your purpose, but actually it has that halo effect about doing good. So there we go. I'm going to leave that there. Thank you.